Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to the Friday Night Rock Show the legend that is Luke Morley. Luke, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, old boy. I'm fine. I'm good as gold.
Right back to your childhood. I would like to know your earliest influences, and who was it that when you heard or saw them, you said, that's what I want to do?
Mixture of two things, really. When I was a very, very small child, one of the first things I remember is being taken to see the Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night, when it came out. And my parents were both really into the Beatles and the Stones, so there was a lot of that going on while I was a kid. But what really crystallised it for me was the first gig I ever went to, which was T-Rex, and that was at Lewisham Odeon in 1971. It was my 11th birthday present. There you go.
I know Lewisham Odeon extremely well.
We were living there for a while, weren't
Yes.
we? Well, not in the Odeon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Whereabouts?
I grew up and lived in Eltham in South East London.
Oh, yeah, I spent a lot of time in Eltham.
Stone's throw away from Lewisham.
Yeah. Well, Danny from Thunder actually was lived in Eltham when we were teenagers. So.
Oh, right.
What school did he go to?
We all went. Well, myself and Danny both went to Haberdashers' Asks.
I know Haberdashers' Asks. I was Thomas More.
Ah, okay, right.
Let's get it all
Small
local.
world.
Back to the music, matey.
Yes.
Your first band, Terraplane. Please
Yeah.
talk us through that a little bit.
Oh, Christ. It was the 80s. We had bad hair. We wore pyjamas. That's about it. No, it was an apprenticeship of sorts. We were very young and inexperienced when we signed to CBS as it was. But what Terraplane really gave us the opportunity to do was to learn how to do things, to learn how to deal with record companies, to learn how to make records. All of the skills that, that we needed and that we carried forth into Thunder, really. And obviously when we got, with Terraplane, we tended to do everything wrong. But we learned from it. And so when we started Thunder, we got most things right, I think. And the speed at which kind of Thunder took off, really, I suppose, is testament to that fact.
Yeah, I think Thunder's history says it all, really.
Yeah.
Right, now, every time I think of you on stage live, I picture you with a Les Paul.
Okay.
Is this your favourite guitar?
I'm a bit of a slut when it comes to guitars. I have to admit, I'm not very faithful to any particular one. I do like a Les Paul. It's a very comfortable, natural guitar for me to play. But I also have a Flying V, which I like very much.
Yes, I've seen you play that a lot.
And I had back problems when I was a few years ago, and the physio that I went to see said, playing a Les Paul probably isn't going to help. So that's why I got into the Flying V. It's a question of finding something that was lighter that sounded as good. And for recording purposes, I love Fender Telecasters. So they're probably my three favourites.
Let's have a talk about Childline Rocks.
Yes,
Okay.
Tell us a bit about that, please.
Well, a lunatic friend of mine, called Darryl Clark, he's in the finance industry, but he got in touch with me and said, I've taken on this job, which is raising money for this Childline Rocks charity thing. He's now the sort of chief exec of it, but basically he got Thunder involved initially, and he basically asked me if I'd be the musical director of a show, which turned into two shows, and it was quite interesting. So there's lots of varied musicians from across all sorts of genres, really. We had, I think the first show we had Roger Daltrey, Steve Harley. Oh God, crikey, I can't really remember. The second show we were fortunate actually to have John Lord, which is particularly poignant now, of course he's gone.
Wow, brilliant.
Glenn Hughes, I think, did both of them. God, blimey.
Sounds awesome.
Loads of sort of interesting, different people, and my job was to kind of put the house band together, and basically knock everybody into shape, which is quite funny considering most of these people are like legends.
Brilliant.
So that was quite an interesting thing. But then it kind of went on from there into this sponsored Harley Davidson bike trip, which we've done the last 2 years and we'll be doing this year as well, which is great. It's a kind of a strange mixture of people, some from finance, some from the military sphere, such as Andy McNabb, what an interesting guy he is, and a few musos. And basically we just get on a load of bikes and cars and drive through the kind of northwestern states of America over a sort of 7-day period, raising money as we go. And the money obviously goes to Childline Rocks. The first year we did it, half of the money went to American Veterans Society. But it's a cool it's a cool thing to do. Myself and Peter went to the Childline call centre last year and had a good look around, met a few of the people, the volunteers, and you see what a fantastic charity it is. And so, you know, yeah, anything we can do there, that's kind of, I suppose, our adopted charity. So we do what we can every year, you know.
That sounds fantastic.
It does, and I have just been reading about some of the stories and adventures. Some of them we can't mention on air, but I have been reading them, and it sounds like you guys had a complete laugh.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to enjoy yourselves. You know, whatever you're doing, there's lots of things in the world that aren't particularly pleasant. So I think when you do embark on something like that, I think you know you have to sort of enjoy it and make it fun, because you want people to come back every year and do it again. You know, that's the thing.
Now, you mentioned Pete earlier on. You are, of course, talking about Pete Shoulder.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine who's a publisher sent me some demos by these different people. Well, crikey, a long time ago. It was 13 years ago, and all these people were looking to sort of write, co-write, and I sort of thought, well, that might be a good fun thing to do. I listened through to all these demos, and there's only one that stuck out, and it didn't have any names on it or anything. So I rang this guy back and said, well, I like the third one, but it's got no name on it. And he said, what do you think? And I said, well, it sounds like, you know, a black guy from Chicago, mid-30s. And he said, no, he's 17 years old and he's from Durham.
Wow.
So that was my first introduction to Pete's voice. And at the time, he was just about to do a solo deal with Sony in New York, development deal thing. So I went along to his kind of showcase for that. I met him and met his family, you know, and they're all lovely people. He's a lovely lad, and just had this voice, you know, this incredible voice that came out of, amazing to look at him, you know, this sort of slight young lad. You would never have known it. So after that, we sort of stayed in touch, did a bit of writing together. He co-wrote a song that ended up on Thunder album, Shooting at the Sun. You know, so we hung out, and then basically the guy who's the drummer in Winterville played in a Belgian band called Hooverphonic. I knew their manager. I went and saw him. I thought the drummer was fantastic and wasted in this band, so I recommended him to Pete. And that sort of was the beginning of Winterville, really. So I sort of produced their first demos, and then introduced them to their manager, and then got out of the way. But Pete and I sort of stayed in touch throughout the period, and then when that finished, when Winterville came to an end, I worked with him again, sort of producing a few kind of acoustic-based demos, really, which were, you know, intended for a solo album that never really happened. Yeah, and then basically after that, basically Thunder stopped, and I literally bumped into Pete in a pub in London, and he said, what's going on? I said, oh, well, Thunder's peaked. And he said, what? I said, yeah. So it was like, well, why don't we make a record together? We spent so much time working together, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to do it. So we did. And that was the first Union album, and you know, that was 3-4 years ago or something.
And now we're looking forward to next month the release of your third album.
That's correct, yeah.
Which is called, correct me if I'm wrong, The World Is Yours.
That is also correct.
And the one that we're interested in is Tuesday, the 19th of February, at the Rescue Rooms in Nottingham. Have you played there before?
We have, yes. I think we played there on our first or second tour, I think, yeah.
Good venue.
Yeah, it's a great, I really like it. So, I mean, obviously over the years, played Rock City many times. But the Rescue Rooms, I was very surprised. I thought it was very nice, very sort of, you know, for a smallish venue, it's got a great atmosphere, nice side stage. No, it was very enjoyable.
Yep, and that's the one we want all our listeners to get down to support you.
Absolutely.
What can we expect to see on that gig?
Oh, juggling, people being killed on stage. No. I think the thing is with the Union is it's really built around the songs and Peter's voice. That's what it's all about. But we also have, I mean, that was the initial concept, but it's kind of morphed into something else really, because we have this fantastic drummer who's a slip of a lad. He's only 23, from Glasgow, called Dave McCluskey, who we sort of found by accident, and he's fantastic, and it becomes a big rock brute live. It's you know, quite sort of subtle here and there on the albums, and it is live too, but the rock stuff gets a lot more rock, and something for the girls to look at as well, because Dave always takes his shirt off, and he's very ripped, so they tell me.
Oh, I'll look forward
I'm normally
to that.
facing the other way, so I don't notice that. You know, but there you go, yeah.
Moving away from the Union for a second, but I do want to come back to them, obviously.
Sure.
You had a short stint with the Power Station.
That's correct, yeah.
Oh, please tell.
Well, Andy Taylor is obviously a really close mate of mine, and after the first, I don't know which band am I talking about now, Thunder. After the first Thunder album which he produced, you know, we became really good sort of firm mates, and wrote together and hung out together quite a lot, and still do it from time to time when, you know, when we get the chance. But when he and Robert and Bernard basically decided to put it back together in the mid-90s, it was 94, and they were making the second Power Station album. It took them quite a while, but at that point they were recording in Los Angeles, and Thunder were in Los Angeles at that time as well, because we were making the third Thunder album, you know, so we sort of obviously hung out a bit. Andy's wife threw a bit. It was my fourth year. This is my 34th birthday party. It was in this enormous rented house in Bel Air that they were renting, and there was all sorts of interesting people there. But I digress. Anyway, so what happened was after that, when the album was finished, when they were sort of putting together what they thought was a good touring band, it was mooted that perhaps they, you know, if they had another guitar player, it would really help sort of fatten the sound out and stuff. And so Andy rang me and said, you know, do you want to come do it?
Brilliant.
So I said, well, you know, let me look at the old schedule, and it just so it happened that it coincided with Thunder having a break, and you know, there wasn't a great deal going on, so I was, you know, able to do it. And so, you know, basically I went to the European tour, Japanese tour, and American tour. But yeah, it was great, and it was great fun working with Robert. Particularly, he's a really interesting guy, great singer, and a proper bon viveur.
Yes,
when they rang me and told me he was dead, I wasn't surprised, because he didn't have any breaks.
Oh dear.
But he was a great guy and one of the most intelligent musicians. I mean, he could do all sorts of weird stuff. You'd say to him, you know, all right, sing Whiskey in the Jar, but sing it like an African spiritual, and he could do it. He was like a real musicologist, really knew his onions, and he just lived to make music and have a nice time, which is what he did. You know, he liked to drink, liked his food, and probably did everything he shouldn't have done.
Bless him.
But interestingly enough, I said to him one day, do you not ever worry about, as I was strolling off to the gym in the hotel, well, where are you going, old boy? So I'm going to the gym. He said, what the hell are you doing that for? I'd kill you, that sort of thing. And he said, no, he was very sort of matter-of-fact about it. He said, well, I've got, you know, I can choose how I want to spend my life, and I'd rather spend it doing stuff that I like all the time. So, you know, fair enough.
Luke, the last question before we leave you, sir.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Go.
What's your favourite fish?
Fish?
Yes.
That's awkward. I'm torn. Do you mean raw or cooked?
Up to you.
Ah, right.
Alive, even?
Okay. If it's raw, then bluefin tuna, because
Okay.
I like my Japanese food.
Oh, I make sushi.
Hey, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And cooked, probably monkfish or sea bass. Not sure. Sorry,
Brilliant.
that doesn't answer anything, does it? But
Brilliant.
oh, there you
Well,
go.
no, it does. You're down on our list of
We're
rock
always-
stars and their favourite fish.
Yeah.
There you go.
We've got an endless list. Brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hands together and get down to the Rescue Rooms in Nottingham on Tuesday the 19th of February to see Luke Morley and his pretty new band, who are absolutely brilliant. The
They're
Union.
smashing.
Luke, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank
No
you,
worries.
mate.